So hi and welcome to the sixth part of the remix of the How to Make Your Own Social Network series. So in this video what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating the database for our social network, and we're going to be converting our page from a .html page to a PHP page, and including so that we can do things like include a header file and things, which I'll explain more about later. So let's get started. So the first thing we need to do is we need to convert our .html page to a .php page, which is easy. All we do is click File, and then we click Save As, and we click on PHP, and we click Save. It's really easy. And now we've done that, we can delete the HTML page, and we'll drag in the PHP page. Actually, we've already got it dragged in since we saved it over. So now we've got the PHP page in, we can use PHP code obviously. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create the header file. So I'm going to click File, New File. I'm going to save it as in the folder called Inc. And I'm going to call it header.inc.php. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy all of this. I'm going to cut it actually, and I'm going to paste it in here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace it with an include function, or an include statement in PHP. The additional spaces like here and then inside here are optional. I just did it to keep things tidier, but you don't actually need them. So what you do is you just type in /inc/inc to make sure you're in the it's // is the same as just putting in nothing, but I just do it anyway, it doesn't really matter. And then I say header.inc.php, which will include our header file. So now if I refresh the page, nothing should change because our header file was included. But if I comment that out, as you can see, now everything goes away because the header file wasn't included. If I re-include it, everything comes back. We can also create a footer now, so that's what I'll do. I will cut that, I'll replace that with a PHP block with an include function in it. And it's going to say /inc/footer.inc.php. And then obviously we have to come up here, click File, New File, and we want to save it as footer.inc.php. I want to paste that in. So we shouldn't see any changes again. Okay, footer.inc.php didn't open. So let's see why. Okay, we saved the footer.inc.php file here. So just drag it into the Inc folder and close this because now it's the wrong file. So close that and just go back into Inc and open it up again. And there we go. If we refresh, the error is gone. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create our table. And as you may have noticed, if you go back to the root of our files, there's a file called users.sql. So I'm going to just open it up in Sublime Text, and here it is here. And I'm just going to go over the different fields. So this is the file we're going to use to create our users table. So what it says is create table if not exists users. So that's pretty self-explanatory. It just means create the table users if it doesn't already exist within the database. Then what you want to do is we want to tell it what rows to add to it, columns. So we want to add the ID, a username, a first name, last name, email, password, sign up date, and then activated, which is an enum, which basically just means it can be either 0 or 1. In my case, like it could be anything you want, but I chose 0 or 1. And we want to set the ID to the primary key, which means it can't be the same as anything else in the table. And we want to set our ID also to be auto incremented, which means every time a new record is added, the ID increments by 1. So for the first user, the ID will be 1. For the second user, the ID will be 2. And then for the third user, the ID will be 3, etc. So instead of just importing the file, we can actually just copy and paste this code. Come over to our database, click on the SQL tab, and paste in here. And click Go. And as you can see, it says our query was executed successfully. We click on Structure, and we have our users table now. So we've got one more thing to do, so we're going to create another file, and we're going to call this one, we're going to save it in the Inc folder, and we're going to call this one connect.inc.php, and we're going to just open some PHP block in here, and we're going to say MySQL query Oops, actually not MySQL query. And we're going to say MySQL underscore connect localhost root, and then I have no password. The localhost is the host, obviously. Root is the username for my database, and since it's on my localhost using XAMPP, their default is root, so I just left it as the default. There's no password, so that's blank. And MySQL select DB is what we want to do next, and we want to select the find friends database, which is what we put in there. Then we want to say or die couldn't select DB if that doesn't work, and then we'll say or die couldn't connect to database, or just say I couldn't connect to SQL server. Then what we want to do is we're going to go to the header file, and we want to just come up here and include our MySQL Connect file. So it's inc/connect.php, or I mean inc/connect.inc.php, and let's refresh the page. So nothing should happen, it should all just work the way it was, but the way we can check that it's working is if we put in a fake username. We should get an error. Couldn't select DB because it was able to connect, but okay, yeah, it's because this one came second, so if we just comment that out. Okay, let's just change the host, and that should be what we need to do. Yeah, okay, we couldn't connect to SQL Server. So leave that at localhost, comment that back in, leave root as the username. In my case, it might be different for you. But here we go, everything's working as expected. So that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, favorite, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.